According to your website, you're working on your second album. Does it have a name yet?
It will have a name. What it is changes day to day, and I'm not sure. I had a few thoughts on it, but I don't have a final one. I think that's probably the last thing that'll happen. Like typically with me with albums, that's like the absolute final thing of like once all the tracks are done and listed and I've figured all that out, then you decide what the whole thing's kind of called. I don't know.
What can we expect on the album? What kind of feel, emotion, vibe?
It'll actually be a pretty big mix when I think about it, in that like it'll have like some of the current singles like The House on Fires and PBR State of Mind, but now still working on a few tracks that wouldn't have existed in the early phases of it, that are very Fleetwood Mac, Eric Church kind of inspired ones. That similarly to my first record, because my first record took a couple of years to do, this will be probably pretty eclectic and like all over the place, as opposed to having.
I feel like I would do it if I'd had an album, because you like different songs.
I know. Well, and
you're out, you're a little
and you work on it. Yeah, and you work on it for a while. I've never been the type to be like, cool, I'm gonna go for a month and track all these songs and be done the record. Like everything I've ever made in my life creatively, like of that big of a body of work, it usually took a couple of years. So I'm gonna change my mind a few times, and like that doesn't really bug me particularly these days, where singles end up being a lot of the thing, or if you're streaming and you're listening to individual songs. I care less about it being like, this is definitively cohesive. It's more like, cool, this is the slice of my life that you're seeing over these couple of years. And like,
especially now people are releasing stuff whenever they feel
like entirely.
Whatever can go with what's going on in society. Too.
Yeah. I don't ever want to restrict myself and go like, oh, well, I started in this direction, so I have to like complete it that way. It's like, I want to make music that makes me happy.
Will there be any collaborations with any artists on it?
I think there will. It's funny you say that. The next couple of songs that I'm working on right now, I think I'd like them both to be duets. I have a couple of people in mind I'm talking to about them. I feel like I'm the man of mystery. It's more I don't have solid answers for you, but probably yes.
You've also had a ton of success in the world of acting, appearing in many popular films and TV shows. I was very impressed when I read the complete list.
There's some weird ones in there for sure.
Actually, I have 2 self-tape auditions due today that I've got to work on as soon as I get out of here. So.
What are you taping for?
Just commercials.
Right on.
One commercial, one short film.
Cool. I've sometimes had to do those over the CCMAs when you're like, okay, need to find time to do this. You need to sleep. Just tape them.
How do you juggle pursuing both careers professionally?
With great difficulty at times.
You have pretty understanding agents on both.
Yeah, both my music and acting agents are great. It's usually fairly obvious of like, cool, this is a show that you could be on for 6 months or whatever, and this show, or you can go play this music show that 2 people will be present at, and it's like, okay, cool, maybe on that one you go one way, or as another one it'll be like, cool, you're gonna go on tour for a couple of weeks here, and this is a one-liner on this, and it's like, most of the time it's easy. A few times there have been some really difficult decisions where like I've had to pass. I'm a musician first, I'd say, but like at the end of the day I just love creating things. I like making music, I like acting, I like directing films and that kind of stuff, so it's all kind of similar slices of like making art,
Yeah, what many may not know, and speaking of directing, you actually directed Jess Moskaloop's music video for her song Camouflage. What was it like being on the other side of the camera?
That was a lot of fun. So I've been directing for almost like 10 years or something like that. I got into it early on when I'd been an actor on a couple of big film sets, and rather than go to my trailer during my downtime, I would always go to the cinematographer and be like, hey, can I shadow you? Can I just watch what you're up to? And so when I started wanting to do music videos for myself, because I had no money to hire anyone to do it, I directed my own videos. And 10 years later or something like that, since I was a little guy, I get to work with someone like Jess. It's a lot of fun. I love directing other artists more than directing myself. With someone like Jess, you just roll the camera. She's so naturally talented, and you just get to make like little subtle adjustments. So that's a lot of fun, where it's like you bring in someone who's already like an artistic giant, and then you just get to play.
Speaking of duets, your duet with Carly McKillop, I love.
Thank you. That one's seriously very near and dear to me. I don't want to speak out of turn on it, but I think the One More Girl girls have some new music they're cooking up right now. I've been talking to Carly about like doing a video for them. I know. I just love them to death. She's so talented, so I'm stoked for them to do more stuff.
So I think we're gonna have to cut this short here.
Hey, no worries.
But thank you so much.
Hey, thank you.
Nice to meet you.